Hello, everybody. It's Andrew back at it again with another video. It's been a while since I've had another one like this. But we are actually doing a weather forecast. And there's actually stuff to talk about. Severe weather-wise coming up. It's a bit far out, but I thought I'd kind of take a look at it for a bit. First, we'll start off with the next couple of days, and there's really not much happening except some winter weather, which I don't usually cover that. I mean, I might a little bit here. Looks like you're gonna get some pretty strong areas of action here. Maybe we'll see some stronger storms on Saturday later this week. Not maybe, we definitely could along this kind of frontal boundary right there, a stationary front. There's the chance for that. And then coming up next week, we get a system to come in. So let's start it off looking precipitation wise. We're gonna look at our forecast loop here. This is the 18Z GFS. So rain and looks like a snowstorm happens across like Maine and stuff. Now coming up later this week, we have a system that starts to build on Saturday, and then coming into Sunday, we start to see severe weather possibly popping up here. One low pressure bringing some snow into kind of Canada, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Dakota or North Dakota, Minnesota, Canada, and then we have a line of showers and thunderstorms stretching further southward. As we move on with the night, we see it gets a bit stronger. So let's stop it here at 0Z, 1 hour 126. Let's stop it here. So we have we have a moisture pole with dew points in the mid 60s all the way into Arkansas. This is going to be the area to watch for severe weather. Most likely is kind of in there. It's not going to be the most significant severe weather event ever, but it's something to watch. They're gonna get an area of decently strong 850 millibar winds of around 30 to 50 knots across this area, and then along with that, you're gonna get a a nice dig with some decent 500 millibar winds. If we get the knot meter out, it's 40 to 60 knots, and then there's another trough right here. This is gonna come into play once it comes in later next week or later during the week. If you look at instability, it's around that time where you could start looking at convective gradients, and there is a little bit that actually does go all the way up into parts of Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas. So maybe you get a stray shower, maybe you get some thunderstorms up there that are non-severe, but your main severe area is probably going to be in focused in here. Looks like you're gonna have lapse rates. Let's get the lapse rates up here. Lapse rates, decent lapse rates as well. Um, let's go back to the dew points. We're gonna take a little bit of a box sounding right here. We'll see what we got. Okay, so that is pretty solid of a box sounding right there. This is gonna tell you like the average environment over this quarter right here. So that's the average over that quarter. That's a pretty large area. So we have a pretty large photograph here with with storm motions of, let's see here, 40 to 45 mile per hour. Maybe getting up close to 50, but more like 40, 45 mile per hour storm motions. We have strong deep layer shear of around 50 knots, and then we have decent lower level shear as well with good SRH values getting into the mid to upper 200s. We have a bit of a cap, but that's expected to be that's expected around 0Z this time of the year. Lapse rates are looking pretty solid. Free cape is a little bit low, but I mean, I'm not too surprised. It's a little bit more dry than you would normally like it to be in that layer of the sounding, in like that 700 to 850 millibar range. Still overall pretty decent sounding for the averaged area that we have here for it. Now, if we go behind a little bit, 1 hour, we see the moisture is still kind of backfiring in there. And then it starts to get a little bit more intense. I'll just take a random sounding there in eastern Texas at 3Z. And yeah, at that point we start to get heavily capped. Now let's go back to the loop, and we're just going to loop this thing to the next low pressure system. So here's the next one. And this one's probably going to bring severe weather with it too. You see right here you have a leading front, actually a leading boundary that brings severe weather with it. and then another one that fires up and brings severe weather with it. So we could have 3 severe weather events within the next, say, a couple weeks, maybe even 4. Yeah, it looks like 4. 3 or 4 events. And then maybe as we get into the long range, we get another one that pops up, but that's more uncertain. That would be pretty interesting if this would happen. Let me just go to 324 and check the moisture for the heck of it. Yeah, that would be an interesting event for December. Um, for 60 dews that far north, that doesn't happen very often in December. But yeah, let's look at this system more in depth around right here. So we get a push of very strong dew points at hour 174. We have a large warm sector with a there's definitely a boundary in here focusing right there. There's a boundary for sure, and then you have a warm front. So that's a very interesting synoptic map that you're gonna have put out, or like surface map. Very rich moisture coming in there, very rich. We'll look at the theta E values as well. I mean, those are plentiful, very plentiful for this time of the year. Let's look at the synoptic wise. Let's look at the 500 millibar jet streak that comes in there. And that is a very enlarged shortwave right there. Maybe yeah, it looks like a long wave trough that comes in. Maybe a shortwave. It's kind of in between. I mean, there's a lot more flow behind it too, but looking at this, very strong wind fields in here too, so that would make it a pretty interesting severe weather day for sure. Now this is 174 hours out, so this may not happen, but very strong lower level shear too. Wow. That would be a day if that happened. We're gonna go on to the Euro model now. We're gonna click onto it, and it looks like it's showing something very similar too. We'll just start right with this event. Yeah, it's got a whipping 850 millibar jet with very strong flow as well. So it's got a similar event. The troughs are definitely oriented differently, but it's similar looking. Let's go. Let's just go on the forecast loop and let's see what it shows. So I'm interested to see what it does for that first system. So here is the first system. Okay, so it looks like it places it a little bit further east than the GFS does. Let's see here. It doesn't want as much moisture, and it doesn't want it to be as organized. It wants it to be more of a Ohio River Valley event with less instability. Overall, it also speeds the event up a lot. Yeah, that doesn't look very good at all. But it has the next event looking even better. Let's look at the 500 millibar flow here. And still looks very good. And then the next event right here, very, very strong 850 millibar. Like, wow. It doesn't have that much instability though, but still, that would be an event and a half if that happened. Very large photographs. Has some good dew points. 60s, very wide end 60s. See, yeah, it kind of straightens out the next day. We're gonna also look at the UK Met for that event on Sunday. Possible event on Sunday there. The UK Met has something very similar to the GFS, where it shows the strong moisture pulling. We'll just take a box sounding there. And another, that's even better than what the GFS has. It's not so dry in the lower levels and middle levels. It's a little bit more dry overall, but I like the photograph a bit better. I also like the lapse rates better, especially in the middle levels. So that's overall a lot better of a sounding right there. Bulk shear wise, it's pretty similar, I would say. 50 millibar winds are looking pretty similar, so I think the UK Met agrees with the GFS. Let's see what the Canadian does with this. The Canadian does not want an event. Yeah, it does not want an event unless it puts it a day earlier. But yep, the Canadian doesn't want an event at all with this. it puts it a day. Oh, it actually puts it a day earlier. My bad. It puts it a day earlier, which is interesting. Yeah, it puts it way early, which is very interesting. It also wants the system to be looking a lot more lopsided and not developed until we get to that next day, and it doesn't even develop fully. Yeah, I don't think the Canadians a very good influence with that event at all, because it doesn't develop the system properly. Okay, this event it does develop the system a lot more properly, but it doesn't show the moisture that would be shown with the other ones. Yeah, it doesn't properly put up the moisture with that one. I mean, maybe that's a solution, but I don't know. Now, a lot of these models are showing a pretty nice snowstorm as well on the back side of this. Let's go to like hour 144 and see what the National Weather Service is predicting snow-wise over the next few weeks. Or not next few weeks, next couple days. So, seems like the Cascades are going to heat up in here and give a lot of snow out. Seems like if you're anywhere kind of north of, looks like Wisconsin's going to get a lot of snow. Michigan with 6 to 7 inches. 11 inches in New York doesn't really surprise me. Northern Illinois with around an inch or so. Same with Northern Indiana and Ohio. Some of those mountains in here, the Appalachians, they're going to get a little bit of snow as well. We're going to look at the GEFS as well to look at the pattern. So let's go look at that with our ensembles. So let's look at the convective side of things, and we're gonna first look at the mean wind plot for 500 millibar. We're just gonna go. So let's see here. Let's go to hour 144. So once we get to hour 144, we see. Oh wait, no. Let's go to Sunday. Oops, my bad. Okay, so it does end up showing the system on Sunday across like Dixie Alley there. Now, is there any convective ingredients that it shows? Probability of CAPE over 1,000. Okay, so in portions of Texas, it is. Well, it doesn't exactly give me a percent, but it's like 20 to 30%. And then the probability of S or H, or EHI, excuse me, is like a 10 out of 100. Precipitation wise here is the let's go to winter. Here's the ensemble precip type. So most of them are agreeing on a system, except Model 3 does not agree. And that's really it. That's the only one that does not agree with the system. We're going to also look at mean 500 millibar plots. Spaghetti, no, mean. Okay, so most of them do agree with sizable jet across that area. Of course, except member 3. That's the only outlier we really have with this one. And maybe member 10 as well. It doesn't show it at all. It shows it being further east. So timing and location is definitely going to have to do with this. Let's go on to like hour 180 and look at that system. So there's that system. Most of them show that system again. Mean wind plot for this, it's all over Dixie. There is already potential for convective instability there, which is already showing up with some of the members, which is very interesting that they already have started to pick up on it. And it seems like it dies off after Thursday. And of course it stays because these are ensembles, so they do stay there. But I think that's going to do it for this one, as we have covered the potential for a couple isolated severe events in the near future. See ya.